very happy right now because I finally got to see the movie event of 2017. And it's not Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. It's Kingsman Golden Circle. I was a big fan of the first film. It was my number one favorite film of 2015, along with other films that I like Shaun the Sheep and Hitman. But something about the first Kingsman movie really impressed me was the kinetic cinematography, and the action choreography, and the violence for what it was. Really pushed the 15 certificate to as far as it can get, especially with that graphic church massacre that Dylan Roof would eventually copy. Now, I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the sequel. The premise follows where Eggsy, Taron Egerton's character, he's now recruited as the lead person, and he is now almost going to get married with the Swedish princess that he fucked in the asshole. And eventually, the Kingsman Center blows up as part of this evil ring that happens in Singapore, which is responsible for selling and distributing drugs. That's by Julianne Moore. And they try to target all these spy agencies and the government. And they eventually have to turn to the US version of Kingsman called the Statesman. Just a little bit there. They have to turn to Statesman to try to get some assistance and try to fight back against the drug empire that exists in Singapore. So all these people crack heroin, cocaine. And what ensues is a shitstorm of madness, nonetheless, with robo-mechanical arm fighters, Swiss Alps, no wait, Italian mountains, my bad, and an agent with a whip and a lasso that you think is going to be good. It could be good or bad, but you'll have to see the film for yourself. Personally, I just thought the film was very good and energetic. I loved it, but I will say it was not as good as the first film. Just on the negatives, it's not as shocking as I would have imagined. It is a 15, just like the predecessor, but it wasn't pre-cut like its predecessor because of the violence and that church massacre. The most shocking thing in this movie is probably watching all people doing all the drugs and stuff, and watching that guy from This Is England, that little skinhead bugger, smoke a crack pipe. What's with that? Well, he can't be calling people Pakistani names anymore. So I just thought, oh. And Channing Tatum, he's doesn't appear quite as often as much as the advertising would have made, even though it's got good. But the whole movie is more or less about Colin Firth's character, because he comes back eventually with an eye patch. Well, he's thinking he's Snake Plissken from Escape from New York. He comes back eventually, but he's undergone amnesia, and so he has to get a lot of training to get back to his normal form. And what ensues is them trying to stop. I thought Colin Firth's performance was quite even better than in the first film because you feel a bit sorry for him. You feel that after his violent incident with Richmond Valentine for the first film, he's coming back on strong, and there's a bit more backstory in it as well. But that's the best thing about it. I love the kinetic cinematography and the action sequences. As far as I'm concerned, my favorite scene in the first film was the pub fight. The equivalent for a movie like this, what I would say is the ending, but I won't give anything away, but I know there's a large fight that ensues within Julianne Moore's little drug empire, and that's all I'm saying. And robo-mechanical arms, I think the robotic arm sequence in the opening and later on in the film definitely makes the film very much alive. And there's a lot of funny banter between the American and British cast, and there's a scene that it totally rips off that pub fire that goes on. They try to make it funny with the lasso man trying to whip around all those guys. But don't be alarmed, this is not some sort of weird kinky S&M from like 50 Shades of Grey, or shitty Shades of Grey. It's an action movie, it's supposed to be fun. And then, along with films like Baby Driver and Hitman's Bodyguard and Chips, which are the other action comedies that came out this year, I would say we got off to a pretty good end as it sees from there. But, never say never, because there are other films coming out like Paddington 2 and the Downsizing movie with Matt Damon that seems to pique my curiosity as well. So I'll be hearing from you back, and this is Skinny Ebert signing off.